The current paper organizer that I have in my craft area is essentially cardboard, which works fine, but I wanted something a little more sturdy. So I drew up these plans. It's a little hard to see here. The entire thing's about 19.5 inches wide and 12 inches deep, but it's divided in half so I have more room for more paper. It's also about 10 inches tall, so I'm using these boards of Baltic birch to make my paper organizer. So I bought this piece of Baltic birch that's supposed to be 24 inches length, but you pay for the cut line. And my project that I'm working on, this was 12 inches. I wanted to try and use 2 pieces out of this, so I'm adjusting and making it 11 3/4. To start with, I'm cutting the top of my piece and the bottom of my piece out of one slab of wood on my table saw. I had to double check my grain to make sure it was going the direction I wanted. And my table saw is small, as you can see, so I had to shimmy around it a little bit. The tricky thing when working with smaller equipment is your measurements. Now, the top and the bottom of my paper organizer is 19.5 inches long, so I had to saw a little bit differently to try and get the cut and not quite have the edge where I wanted it. Also, it made it a little bit harder to make sure that I made the wood all the way through to make sure it doesn't kick back at me. That the line is in between, and there we go. All right, then we take this, that in, back it off of the wood. Okay. There we are. Getting ready to pocket screw my box. And we're going to use 1-inch fine threads for my pocket screws because it's Baltic birch. So it's a harder wood or a more compacted wood. If you had like something like poplar or pine, I would use a coarse screw or coarse threading. Doing a little bit of touch-up on my paper organizer. Taking some mineral spirits and trying to, wherever the stain got a little splotchy, rub that out a little bit so it's a little more of a good flow. Then I'm going to take a coat of poly to this. Actually, I'll probably put a little more stain over where I'm doing this touch-up. Do some poly, and it should be good to go. That may be problematic. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that dark spot out. I had another dark spot up here, which I took some mineral spirits to. Seemed to wash out pretty well. And then I'm going to do some stain touch-ups. But overall, I like my paper organizer. Paper organizer finished. Look at the difference between these two. Nice and sturdy. This guy, don't think I'm keeping. Yay! So here's everything that I've made so far for my craft area. I'm really pleased with how all of these have turned out.